Welcome back to Florida Man Garage. Today we're going to continue working on this old 66 C10 truck that we picked up probably about 6 months ago or so now. And so last time we determined that this engine, this old straight six that's in here, had no compression left, and I kind of tore it apart a little bit and looked at it and realized that I didn't really want to rebuild it. I wanted to do an LS swap in here. So in today's episode we are going to kind of show you how I came across this free LS swap, and more than that, it wasn't just the LS swap that I wanted to do a frame swap to where I could have the four-wheel disc brakes, I could have the updated suspension, kind of everything of a new truck would have, except I want this old body to be on it. So that's why we kind of went with this route and ultimately decided to go with a Tahoe frame so we can use some of those frame kits that are out there. So decided to pick up an old Tahoe, got it for $300, and ended up selling a bunch of the parts off of it to recoup that money. So that's why I say this is a free LS swap, because I did technically get the Tahoe for free after selling a couple parts off of it, and actually made a little bit of money that can kind of cover some of the other costs. In this episode, I'm going to kind of go through the breakdown of how I got that Tahoe body off of the frame, and we'll just see how far we get into the video. We have to clean up the frame and take the engine out, and just a lot of steps to it, but in the end, we should have a nice, reliable truck that looks kind of old and beat up and rusted. However, it's going to have those modern day amenities of disc brakes, the new suspension, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the project, it should be a really nice kind of daily driver with this old look to it. But yeah, let's just dive in and see how far we get in this video. Thanks for watching. This has the same wheelbase as the C10, and they make a kit where you can take the body off of the C10 and bolt it onto the Tahoe frame. That means we can use the brakes, the suspension, engine, transmission, all that kind of stuff. This is what we got here. It is a 5.3. It is four-wheel drive, but I think we will probably just be doing rear-wheel drive on the C10. We're going to try to do this technically for free because we bought this Tahoe for $300, and I already sold the dash panel out of it for $110. So we're only into this truck $190 right now, and I feel like I can part out some other stuff on it and get this Tahoe technically for free, which would be a free LS swap essentially. Maybe a little bit of a clickbait title there. So this fender looks pretty good. Some of the door, like I don't think this might be dented up a little bit on over here. Maybe some of these doors can be sold. Hoping to have less than 300,000 miles on this truck. When we put the jump pack on it, we looked at the cluster and we saw 400 and something thousand miles. Can't really see it right now. The ignition here is all torn apart. So we tried to start it with a screwdriver, and we couldn't start it there because I had to replace the starter. The starter was bad. So when I brought it back here, I replaced the starter yesterday, and then it starts up for a second and then it shuts off immediately. Starts for a second, shuts off immediately. I saw something on YouTube where it has something to do with the security system. So if you twist these two wires together, which originally go into here, so if you twist those two together and then you turn the key, try to start it, it won't start, and then you let off the key, leave it in the on position for 10 minutes, so the security will flash over here. And once that security light goes away, it's just going to cycle between the battery, and I have that cargo door alert right now, but it will cycle between that security and the battery. And once it stays on that completely, or in my case when that security light goes away, it's just cycling between that battery and that cargo, then you have to let the key sit in on position for 10 minutes, then try to start it again. You have to do that 3 times, so it takes at least 30 minutes to do this. And I'm leaving the old key right next to that sensor. I'm hoping it learns that key and hoping I can still turn it with that screwdriver. So the good news is it does fire for a second. Sounds okay-ish in that 1 second it's running. Seems like we could have gotten a nice, I don't know, I want to say nice because it's covered in oil. Got an LS here for basically free right now for $190 essentially. But it's covered in oil. The underside is even worse. has oil everywhere. Hopefully we can get this running, and then we can swap the frame of the C10 onto this. And this truck has been smoked in its entire life, so the interior is pretty disgusting. I mean, that seat is just destroyed completely. This is what I sold up top already. Door panel, pretty gross. Might be able to clean that up. Pretty gross. It looks worse in person than it does on camera, honestly. There's a bunch of hay and dirt and all kinds of crap. I already took off the grill. I might be able to sell the grill, but we can see what we can salvage out of here, because we might get a couple free things like can WD-40. We got some grease there. We got some wrenches. I saw some change up in the seat. So all this is going to come into play of how much we can really get this for free. Maybe some of these inside panels I can clean up, but it's in really, like, it's really, really dirty. Timer is for the 10 minutes. So let's see if that security light went away. So it should now just be cycling between battery and cargo door open, which it is. See, so the security flashing is gone. This is the third time, so let's see if it starts. See, it's doing the same thing. That's what it's been doing this whole time. It's where it's supposed to cycle the key off and then back on. It's supposed to cycle it off after that, wait for 5 seconds. So I don't know if I just messed it up or not, but crazy. It's running, it's idling. £30 of oil pressure maybe. So that might be pretty low. Turn off with our key here. Let's see if it will start back up now. I would imagine this has something to do with the whining power steering pump, considering it has like 400 pipe clamps on it and some like wire wrapped around it. So I'd like to clean out all this stuff, kind of assess what we have in here, and also assess to see what can be cleaned up, what can be sold. This is a little bit concerning. This is the dipstick tube. Okay, those are kind of notorious for breaking off, but they're not really known to break off here. There should be another like couple inches there. What's more concerning is that the actual dipstick itself is broken. It should have another 6 inches or so on there. So I'm wondering if that is in the bottom of the engine. Sounds okay right now. So I'm wondering if the end of this piece is sitting in the bottom of the oil pan. I don't know. I did order a new one of these, but I'm guessing I'm gonna have a hard time getting the old one out of the engine. I'm gonna take inventory of what we have, see what we can clean up, maybe vacuum up a little bit. A lot of this stuff's probably just gonna be trash. I also don't want to stay under this lift because the struts are broken. It's just being held up by that flimsy broomstick. So I'm gonna try to take stuff out through up there if I can, and then I'll lay everything out, see what we have, see if there's anything of any worth. Alright, let's check out our loot so far. Start over here with this metal pipe. Very nice. Random assortment of woods, bare tire, tire shot. This is just the engine, I don't know, under panel thing. Took that off yesterday. These look like old hubs because there was a box over here I threw away with a new hub. So some kind of hub slash brake problem because there's an old rotor, there's a caliper bracket there. Front drive shaft, guessing 4-wheel drive does not work. There was a new oil filter and I did put that into the truck yesterday, so that's a score there. 2 lug nut covers, I guess. That looks like a brand new like positive cable. Come around this way. It looks like this is a ABS sensor of sorts. Looks like an old one, probably broken. Got a nice mason jar here. Some work boots. Nice leopard sheet. Cheetah, leopard, I don't know. This says boat buckle. It's gonna be, I mean, all this stuff is gonna be trash. I don't know what that is. National Lampoon's men's boxers. Do we think there's anything in this box? No, nothing. Move on to some of the newly acquired tools we have. This is a battery bolt, since it's like a side post battery. Assortment of sockets, wrenches, tire pressure gauge, big Allen key over there. Got a nice ruler. Have a set of like, looks like security. There you go. It's like security Torx set. Lightly used grease. I actually have a new can WD-40, which I needed that. Got a nice funnel. I'm looking for one of those. Flashlight does not work. Little tire iron there. Coolant, oil. Maybe that's a new air filter. We'll look at that in a second. Obviously not going to show any of his information here, but looks like this was at least insured about almost a year ago. It's kind of good news. Got a little custom catch can here. Let's see if there is indeed a new filter. Ooh, there's a new air filter in there. Yeah, new air filter and a new oil filter. Things are looking up. All right, now I'm just going to try to vacuum up everything I can, get a little bit cleaner in here. So this window was down. The seat is leaking water. I'm just gonna trash this whole seat. This is not even worth trying to save or anything. So I'll try to get this seat out of here and just dispose of it. Bottom of the seat, similar condition, not worth saving or trying to sell or anything. Just gonna tear all this stuff out. Gonna try to pull this back seat out. Got the seat out, more cans of oil, random receipts. I'd like to try to get this whole carpet out, honestly. Got all this vacuumed out, probably a little bit better than I had to, honestly, because I want to take out the carpet anyway, take out all these interior panels, and then just see if there's anything I can put on eBay, maybe some switches of sorts, maybe one of the door panels. I really just want to vacuum it out so all the dust wasn't flying around, so I can work in here without a mask and try to clean up some of this stuff a little bit. Won't record all that, just show you after. Okay, here's the center console. This is in decent shape. I think I might try to clean this up and list this for sale. It's definitely a smoker. It's kind of ashes everywhere. So I'm just going to try to clean up this a little bit. Maybe try to get this pulled out of the car today. And then we'll go from there. Got this passenger side at least vacuumed up a little bit, cleaned out the center console and all the ashes. I think I'm going to try to pull that center console out. This door panel is just beyond saving, so I'm not going to do anything with that. The seat, definitely beyond saving. Try to vacuum out some of this sand so it's just not as dirty to work in. So I did go ahead and vacuum up down here. Looks a little bit better. This seat is just destroyed, not going to worry about that. But I do think that people may want to buy this center console if I get all these pieces out. These two kick panels, the little center piece there, and the whole center console, and I clean that up really well. Maybe I could get $100 for that. And then I'm going to try and just take out all these switches, list them on eBay, and see if I can get anything for that. I'm just going to take out this front seat now. Gonna clean that up real quick. Alright, vacuum that up a little bit. I might see if this will clean up at all with a magic eraser real quick before I even bother any further. I'm gonna start kind of disassembling the body here, taking off this fender, bumper, maybe some of this stuff up here, see if I can get it kind of down to bare frame up here in the front. This fender is destroyed anyway, I need to take that off. Maybe take off that cowl there and just kind of get some more room in here. And also we're gonna have to take off all this stuff anyway to do this body swap, so I'm gonna start making some progress with that. I'm gonna start by taking off the air box and the snorkel here, get us a little bit more room, and it also needs to come out so I can get this fender off. I'm gonna unbolt this overflow tank. I'll probably end up taking out all this AC stuff. It doesn't work anyway, and it'll give us more room when we go do that swap. Take off this overflow tank now. Just gonna start unbolting all this stuff in here. I got 2 bolts holding the fender in this way, and I think 1 from the bottom. 2 more up here. So there is another bolt back here, kind of hard to get to. I need to take off this whole cowl anyway, so I might as well do that first, give me a little bit better access to that bolt down there. Can't get the wipers off right now, but I was able to pop off the little access panel to get to that bolt for the fender. Well, got the fender off here. Got a lot more room here, especially if we get rid of this AC stuff here. A real good access down there. Now the hood is really only attached to the fender, so I was hoping to leave the hood on to keep rain out and everything, but it's gonna have to be the next thing that goes, really, because once I take this fender off, it's not gonna be able to be attached to anything. Probably take the hood off right now. This cheap set of Torx bits I got. T20, T20, T25, 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 T27, T27, T30, T30. It only has 4 different sizes on here, but there's a bunch of things. Like, what? I'm gonna go ahead and take out all this AC stuff. You know, for the C10, it's not gonna have AC to begin with, and if it does, we'll be going with like a aftermarket kit, so we're not gonna need any of this stuff anyway. I'm going to try and take it out nicely if I can, but if there's any kind of fight, then I will just cut it with the Sawzall. I'm going to start removing some of this stuff up here. And I've been labeling all these connections that we don't need so I can trace it back and de-pin it at some point. Because I will be using the stock ECU, or at least that's the plan for now. And there was no pressure in the system, I already checked that. I bet that is not fun getting out with all this stuff on here. Tore out all that AC stuff that was here. There wasn't even a belt on that compressor, so I'm willing to bet that that compressor is bad. Yeah, now we really have good access here. Still trying to see where that dipstick broke off in there. Might have to remove the exhaust manifold at some point. Just gonna try to take off this bracket now. Today I would like to try to get this fender off and the bumper off, which means that we're going to have to take out the battery and deal with this kind of electrical stuff in here. At least disconnect it, probably flop it over somewhere or another. Eventually need to take off this master cylinder and all this stuff here, but we'll get to that at another point. cut that off. Kind of loses all structure here in the front. I mean, once we take this bumper off, I really think this whole thing's gonna kind of come down. There's nothing else holding this on, so we may need to take off the rest of this stuff. So I decided two things today. One is I'm not going to use this stock ECU and all the wiring that's associated with it, just because it's too much. There's wires everywhere. It's a huge fuse box, and I'm not going to need all that stuff in that old truck. So I think I'm just going to spend the money on the Holley Terminator X. It's about $1,300, and that should do everything for the engine. And I'll buy a new wiring harness for the rest of the truck, for the lights and all that kind of stuff. So that's the first thing I decided. The second thing I decided is that this is going to stay right where it is until we pull the body off of it. So that means that I can just start digging into stuff and not worrying about if I can leave stuff to keep it driving or not. After today, it's not going to be moving from this position. I'm going to awkwardly pull the hood off again by myself for the third time. I want to get the entire front end off of the car today. And then tomorrow, I'm going to pull out all of the interior stuff and get it down to basically just, hopefully tomorrow I can get to the point where it's ready to take the body off of it. I still don't know how I'm going to get the body off of it, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I thought about cutting it up into pieces, taking off all the doors, taking off the hatch, cutting it with the Sawzall into a bunch of little pieces. Yeah, I just really don't know how I'm going to do that yet without a lift, but cross that bridge when we get there. So I think I'm just going to start unbolting everything I really see, everything I get my eyes on. I'm just going to unbolt it. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just start taking stuff off, take all this front stuff off, take the AC condenser off, just go from there. I'm trying too hard to save old lines that I'm never going to use. I don't know why I'm trying so hard to save all these rotten old lines. Try to get that fan shroud off next. Tire front end removed. I guess that's 2 body mounts out of, well, there's probably 8, 2 out of 8 down. So today's goal is to pretty much get this dash out, get all of these little switches and everything out, maybe get the headliner out. I don't know, we'll just see how far we get, but gonna try to disassemble some of this stuff so we can get to some of the harnesses and pull out most of this stuff. Also kind of focus on the wiring over here, see if we can clean up this side of the wiring. Here's the tools I brought out, just a socket set, my impact, electric ratchet, a couple extensions and stuff. So let's see how much extra I need to bring. Show you again at the end of the day when we're cleaning up. I'm going to start by maybe getting this ECU out of here. Already had to add a flathead screwdriver to today's tool list. Got 2 bolts on top. ECU's out. This entire section is just front lights. I wonder if we can take this out. That's kind of nice. We got this entire front light harness out in one piece. This is just the ground cable. Kind of disconnect this motor here. Doesn't make much sense to put the locking clip on the bottom, does it? Thinking that has something to do with cruise control, because it has its own thing that comes over here to the throttle body. I don't think we're going to have the option of cruise control where we're going, so I'm going to take that off as well. So I'm going to put that, and then maybe we can cell pile. So this section looks like it goes to here, which goes to the rear of the truck, to all of the tail light, trailer lights, stuff like that. There's another ABS, so I think it deals with ABS and trailer brake lights. Comes up into the brake fluid reservoir here as well. this is the whole right side is in one clip here. Looks like radio stuff, rear defrost, front HVAC. I don't think any of this stuff on this side has anything to do with engine. So I'm going to take off this whole side as well. As I mentioned, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm making halfway sense of this, but there's just too much stuff. Maybe I could lay it all out and go through it all. I still for some reason think it would be cool and save some money if I use this stock ECU. I think we got mostly everything off of the firewall. I'm just gonna start pulling some stuff out here. So there's 3 pretty large bolts here that hold in like this frame in the back, which is probably some way where I can undo some of this stuff, but at this point kind of annoying, so I'm just going to try to take out these 3 bolts here. 15 millimeter here. Ah! How many times am I going to do that? Why do I have this in the worst spot? Oh, it's like, how stupid can I be? Well, I wouldn't recommend doing it like that because it will never go back in, but I was able to get it out. I'm gonna work on getting this bar out, getting this stuff off of it. I don't even know what that is. Why? How? And here's the table after our project today. Here's our starting table check for today. Got a 2 different socket sets, impact, a couple little things. We'll see how far that progresses. Today, we are going to try to use this cooler to get the steering wheel off. Never used one before, so we'll see how that goes. And try to pull off the steering wheel and then really just try to get out all that extra stuff so we can get all the way down to the firewall. Maybe mess with the pedals a little bit, get that wiring harness out. Don't have a lot of time today, so just see how far we get. First thing is get the steering wheel off. Alright, how's that? I don't know, I pulled on that pretty hard. I feel like if I would have banged on that a little bit, I didn't need that tool, but maybe just goes to show when you have the right tool how easy things go. Looks like I'm going to need some snap ring pliers and a torque set, so already need a few more tools than we took out. And get the snap ring out. This one's very loose and that one's very tight. And disconnect the steering up here. Got it. So I don't have a ton of time today, but I would like to try to get this all harness out of the way and this brake. Try to get all of this kind of cleaned up here, so maybe I can get that steering shaft out of here today. I was able to get that whole harness out, except for this one wire that leads under the seat. I hope I can still get that seat out because you kind of got to move it to get to that back bolt there. So I'm going to see if I can get that out. All right, looks like I can still get to it. Ouch! Yo, how many times am I going to burn myself? Probably couldn't see in here. Kneel down into this thing. Burn my leg again. Okay, well, well, it goes over to the other one too, so I'm gonna have to take the carpet out, and that's just a job for another day. So we need to clear out this mess here in the back and also start taking off some of these panels. I might be able to sell one of those panels over there to someone who's interested. I'm gonna start clearing out this stuff. Alright, I'm just going to start tearing out interior panels, trying to be cautious with that stuff because somebody might want to buy that. Alright, I'm going to try to get this carpet out now. Try to clean that front part up a bit. This master cylinder is all chewed up and cross-threaded, so I'm not even going to reuse this anyway. Let's buy a new one. Would like to get that off, which is already unbolted, so I'm just going to unbolt it from here, get that brake booster off. I would like to get the headliner down and then take all this stuff to the dump. So see if I can do this in the next hour or so. Oh, it's bad. Oh, shit. I knocked the camera over, but I think it's still okay. Got that out. Show you what it looks like in here now. So I have all the carpet out, headliners out, still have like this subwoofer back here, some rear heating stuff I guess back here. I would really like to get that. I mean, I don't need to at all. I think it would be cool to get that box out just so we could see like the entire thing completely empty. I think I'm just going to clean up a couple little things and then probably make a run to the dump to get rid of all this stuff. I'm going to try to get these doors off today. Getting these running boards off. Alright, we are not taking off the running boards. They're just too hard to get to and there's like rusted bolts everywhere. Somebody wanted to buy them in Australia, so it's just too much. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. I didn't really want to ship them to Australia anyway, so I'm not going to deal with that. So this back of glass that was on eBay new for like $550, so if I can get it off without breaking it, maybe we can sell it for $200 maybe? Luckily, I was able to get all 10 body bolts out. Wasn't too much of a hassle, so we got all of those out. And this is the current state of the hoe. We got our C10 just watching the slaughter happen. So I think the next thing we're going to do is try to get this glass out, that glass, and then I think we're going to cut it. Probably we can cut it here, cut it down there, probably all the way across here like this. Just cut it into a bunch of little pieces that we can take off, and then we'll use our little Ranger, bring all of that to the scrapyard, and then after that we'll kind of have to repeat the process with this. Take all the body panels off of this, take the cab off, all that stuff. It's going to be a little bit harder because we have to remember where everything goes on this. Over here we could just unbolt everything, don't care where it went, throw everything away. Have to be a little bit more mindful when we take this apart because we have to put it back together. I guess that's going to be the project for the next couple of weeks, I would think. Cut this up. Once we get the body off the frame, then we're going to clean up the frame, paint it, do a bunch of stuff to that, take this off. I mean, we still have a ton of work to do, but we're making some progress here. All right, no more being nice. Just going to cut this thing up. Alright, I've been trying to get this window out for like an hour now. Trying to get out in one piece so it's not such a mess. Just won't come out. It's time just to break it out. Spend too much time doing this anyway. Jeez, this is a brick. Let's see if Shelby wants to throw a brick through the window. You want to throw a brick through a window?
Yeah. Now?
Yeah.
Just throw it up there? Okay, ready? Oh my gosh, that was so fun! Oh, it wants me to do it again. Okay, last time. Ready? Oh, it came back. Alright, one more time. That's so fun!
Now the less fun part is the cleanup. Back to cutting up this hoe. here's what it looks like with the body off. Came off pretty, I don't want to say easy, but we were able to use the tractor there and kind of flip it off to the side. Doesn't look like the frame's rusted out too much. Maybe some surface rust here and there, but by the time we're done with this, it's going to look hopefully brand new. I'm gonna wire wheel down the whole thing, take off all this surface rust, all this dirt, pressure wash it, paint it up, do all that kind of stuff. So the kit that we're getting, I think, just relocate some of these mounts and we can mount that body onto here. This is a 4L60E four-wheel drive transmission. However, I really only want the rear-wheel drive one. I'm either just going to disconnect all the four-wheel drive stuff, which the drive shaft is already disconnected here. So I'm assuming that means that it doesn't work. But I don't really want four-wheel drive anyway.